Christ is risen from the dead, trampling down death by death, and upon those in the tombs bestowing life. Christ is risen, indeed he is risen. Christos voskrese, vaistunu voskrese. Christos anesti, alaphos anesti. Today is the 7th of May as according to the old calendar. I am of course Rita Lazar. Welcome to Voices of British Orthodoxy. Our first entry and only entry from the book from today is St. John of Beverley, and he is from the 8th century. Our father among the saints, John of Beverley, was a diligent scholar and teacher who was educated at St. Augustine's monastery at Canterbury, under the supervision of St. Theodore of Canterbury, who we will commemorate on the 19th of September. St. John then went to the double monastery of Whitby under St. Hilda, who we commemorate on the 17th of November. At Whitby, his students included St. Bede the Venerable, who we commemorate on the 25th of May, whom St. John ordained to the priesthood. St. Bede the Venerable relates in his Historia Ecclesiastica how St. John cured a deaf mute through his blessing. St. John was first consecrated Bishop of Hexham, circa AD 687, and was made Bishop of York in AD 705. However, he resigned the see after 8 years and retired to the abbey at Inderwood, which he had founded, and which later became known as Beverley. St. John reposed there after 7 years, AD 721. And the entry in the group chat is as follows. St. John of Beverley, Bishop of York, who ordained St. Bede to the priesthood. Born in Harpham, Humberside, Yorkshire, England. Died at Beverley, England, May 721. Canonised in 1037. St. John trained for the priesthood and monastic life in Kent under the direction of Saints Adrian and Theodore, but returned to Yorkshire upon completing his studies to become a monk at Whitby Abbey, which was then under the rule of St. Hilda. John founded a monastery in Humberside, England, on the site of a small church and dedicated to St. John the Evangelist, where he asked to be buried. In 687, after the death of St. Eta, John was consecrated Bishop of Hexham. He is said to have shown special care for the poor and the handicapped. Whatever time he could spare from his episcopal duties he spent in contemplation. At regular seasons, especially during Lent, he retired to pray in a cell by the church of St. Michael beyond the Tyre, near Hexham. He would take with him a pauper, whom he would serve during his retirement. He was transferred to York as Archbishop upon the death of St. Bossa in 705. And St. Wilfrid succeeded him at Hexham as part of the final settlement of the latter's long dispute with the Northumbrian kings. He continued his practice of periodic retirement for spiritual nourishment. His chosen retreat was an abbey that he had built at Beverley, then a forest. Not until old age had worn him out did he resign his office to St. Wilfrid the Younger, in order to spend the last 4 years of his life in the peace of his beloved abbey at Beverley. According to St. Bede in ecclesiastical history, who was ordained both deacon and priest by John when he was Bishop of Hexham, John of Beverley possessed the gift of healing. He cured a youth of dumbness, even though the boy had never uttered a single word. The boy was apparently bald from a scalp disease also. On the second Sunday of Lent, John made the sign of the cross upon the youth's tongue and loosed it. Bede tells of how the saint patiently taught the boy the alphabet. He taught him to say Gaia, which signifies in Saxon yea, or yeah, Y-E-A. Then the letters of the alphabet, and afterwards syllables. Thus the youth miraculously obtained his speech. Moreover, by the saint's blessing, his head was entirely healed and became covered with hair. St. Bede also recorded that John cured a noblewoman of a pain so grievous that she had been unable to move for 3 weeks. Several people in immediate danger of death were saved by his prayer. In addition to his own eyewitness accounts, Bede tells us of cures witnessed by Abbot Berkfun of Beverley and Abbot Heobold of Teignmouth. After the saint's death, Such miracles continued around his shrine, which became a famous pilgrimage site. The Bollandist Heinsius devoted 4 books to the miracles wrought at the holy bishop's shrine. So many were drawn there that the magnificent Beverley Minster was built, which rivals some of England's greatest cathedral churches. Alcuin also records miracles worked at John's intercession. Some of the sweet-smelling relics were discovered in September 1664, when a grave was being dug in a lead box within a vault of freestone. These relics had been hidden in the beginning of the reign of King Edward VI. And the final saint of today, which is not found in the book and only is found through somebody copy and pasting it to this group chat, is C600. Frankish Saint Leodhart was chaplain to Queen Bertha of Kent, who agreed to marriage with the pagan king Ethelbert, who later became Saint Ethelbert, the first Anglo-Saxon king to convert to Orthodoxy, on the condition that she be free to practice her religion and bring her bishop with her. Leodhard was that bishop. He played an important part in the conversion of the king to Christianity. St. Leodhard restored an ancient Romano-British church for her at Canterbury. He was buried in the abbey of Saints Peter and Paul, now St. Augustine's, in Canterbury. May St. Leodhard and St. John of Beverley intercede for us before the righteous judge. I hope you all had a wonderful day, and I will see you tomorrow. God bless you all, and Amen.